calculation we're looking for? And again, can you reason with me and explain why one of them is correct, but also I'd like to tell me why one of them isn't correct. My name is Stephen Moat and I'm a Year 5 class teacher. Make any choice why one of them is not correct. Any one you can choose. So one answer on there is correct and the other 4 are incorrect. Okay guys, 30 seconds again, off you go. As a school, we've been using Rising Stars Mathematics for about just over a year now. It's changed the way I teach. It's taken me away from an old school starter, main lesson, plenary. I've got a lot more freedom with how I teach maths now. There's a lot of things in Rising Stars that I wouldn't have added into lessons before, but now I do bring those into lessons. I feel like lessons are a lot more fun using Rising Stars. Okay, boys and girls, I'd like to think back to yesterday when we were looking at square numbers and cube numbers. We've got a little discussion on the board between the characters we've met before many times, Amy and Theo. I'd like you please to have a little chat to your talk partner. Who do you think's correct and why? If you're going to give me an answer, make sure you can explain your answer and why. Okay guys, 20 seconds, discussions, off you go. Today's lesson was Unit 3A, which the unit's all about different number. So before today's lesson we looked at square numbers and cube numbers, and then we moved on today to do multiples and common multiples, and then to push the children further we looked at lowest common multiple. Following this we then tomorrow look at lowest common multiples again, and then we move on to doing factors and highest common factors and things like that. And stop, look and listen. Fantastic boys and girls. Who's got an answer they'd like to share with us? Well, if you do give an answer guys, you need to explain why and how you got that answer. Okay, Louis, let's hear from you.
Amy's right because 5 square. Theo is doing 5 times 2 because he's thinking what squared is 2, not. But 5 squared is 5 times 5, and then 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5. Okay,
great answer, Marianne. Do you agree with Louis?
I do agree with Louis because Theo is just thinking that squared means 5 add 5 when it's 5 times 5 because you're times the number by itself if you're squaring a number.
Very interesting. Aidan, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, because if it was 5 squared, he might be thinking it as, because the squared symbol is like a little 2, he might think that it's 5 times 2, and this cube symbol's a little 3, he might think that it's 3 times 5, when it's not, because 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25, and then 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125.
Fantastic, great answer. Boys and girls, Amy is correct, well done. Absolutely brilliant answer. Did we all get that? Yeah. Ruby knows if you got that one. Fantastic, great answer boys and girls. Theo says that 5 squared is 10. True or false? There are no square numbers less than 10. True or false? Discuss. I think the children have noticed a massive difference in my teaching style with regards to discussion. So rather than me asking a question and me saying to child X, okay, what's the answer? Rising Stars allows the children to discuss the answers first of all. It gives them plenty of time to think about reasoning as to how they got the answers, and not just how they got that answer, but why other answers can't be correct. And that then gives them, I think it gives them a better mathematical knowledge. I think it gives them a deeper understanding of the concept. So I think that's really changed in my teaching.
Yeah, 6, look, 56, 4.
There's so much help in there for teachers. With me not being a maths specialist, it is fantastic to have something like that, a tool or a guide as such, to help me through planning the lessons to start. So before each unit you'll find 4 or 5 pictures on a double page spread, which are all a bit about problem solving for each unit. For example, in Unit 1 there's a lot about number and there's a scoreboard. And I taught a full lesson just using that one picture. It gave me an idea about what the children already knew about place value before I then went on to teach the unit. So then it's given me a good idea of what the children already know. So I think the pictures really come in handy for teachers as well. So how might you find the 50th multiple?
52.
There we go.
Or you could do 5 times the number and then add on a 0.
But why would you be adding on the 0? What are you actually doing if you add the 0? What are you doing? Are you just picking a 0 up for anywhere and adding it on? What are you actually doing to that number?
You're making the number greater.
By how many? Making it...
10.
Make it 10 times bigger. That would be a good method, Lucy. That would be an awesome method. Or you could do 5 times, like you say. Okay, 50 times. That's your decision. Whatever you feel works for you. Okay. I think the resources that you get allow you to teach how you feel that it's going to benefit your class. Every teacher has a different class. And the materials, you can use them as strict set out if you wanted to. However, you can pick out little bits that would work for your class. Now, the next task, boys and girls, I've introduced my favourite friend again. You know, she called me up last night, as usual. Taylor Swift. She called me up again last night, and she was struggling with something. And I said my Year 5 class would be able to help her out again, like we so often do. So, boys and girls, a quick question for you to have a little think about, a little discussion. I want you to think about the question that Taylor's asking on the board, and I'd also like to be thinking about the new vocabulary that we've learnt today. Try and put it all together, okay, and come up with how we might be able to help Taylor out. Okay, so you're going to be talking with the person next to you as a pair, then you can share your ideas as a whole group, and let's see if we can come to some idea about how we can help out Taylor. Okay? Who thinks they can help Taylor out? I now know what multiples of 4 and 8 are. I discussed that with her on the phone last night, but I couldn't help when it came to this part. What are common multiples of 4 and 8? Very interesting, because we've got 2 of those words up on the board up there, haven't we? Common and multiple. I'm going to start with Chloe, because we had a really, really good discussion about it, didn't we? Okay, then I'm going to come over to Luke. Okay, and then I want to see if anybody else has got anything they want to add to it. So Chloe, big loud voice for me.
A common multiple of 4 and 8 is a multiple that's in both the 4 and the 8 times tables. So it would be 1 times 8 and 2 times 4, because they both equal 8.
Okay.
So it's in both of the times tables. So if it was, if it was in the 4s and it wasn't in the 8s, then it wouldn't be a common multiple.
Okay, great answer. Thank you, Luke. Can you take it any further for me?
So a common multiple is a multiple which is in both 8 and 4 times tables.
Fantastic. Anybody want to add anything else? 2 really, really, really great answers. Well done, boys and girls. So a common multiple is a multiple which is in both columns, okay? So I'm going to show you a really nice way of how we can work that out. Okay. I use the practice books most lessons. So in a textbook, you could get the group together and go through a few questions that you feel the children would get with your support. And then you'd move on to the practice book, which are different questions based around the same theme, but the questions might get slightly more difficult as they progress. So it gives the children then the opportunity to think back what they did in the textbook and then be answering similar questions in the practice book independently, where there's spaces for the children to put their answers. I would definitely encourage any of the colleagues to give Rising Stars Mathematics a go. It saves teachers a lot of time. It's really changed the way that I teach for the better.